Here's what happened on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. We are live from Florida, and the show opens with the Viper, Randy Orton. He gets into the ring to talk about Gunther and his match with him at Bash in Berlin for the World Heavyweight Championship. He says that Gunther talked about my father and grandfather last week, so now this match is personal, and the RKO I hit on Gunther last week just proves how personal it is, so Gunther better watch out. Music hits and Gunther is here. He gets into the ring and says to Randy that what you did last week, hitting me with an RKO while my back was turned, has made this match personal for me as well. Gunther says to Randy that you're not going to hit another RKO on me again. Gunther also says that at Bash in Berlin, he is going to expose Randy for what he is, a very successful and yet a very underachieving one-trick pony. Randy replies by saying that he is going to stick his boot up Gunther's ass at Bash in Berlin. Ludwig Kaiser shows up and he tries to attack Randy. Randy takes care of him and throws him out of the ring and then turns his attention to Gunther. He starts fighting Gunther, but Kaiser rolls into the ring and attacks Randy. Then Kaiser and Gunther both attack Randy, and in the end, they stand tall over a fallen Randy Orton. End of segment. Next up, it is Sheamus vs Pete Dunne. In the end, Sheamus hits Pete with the brogue kick, and he pins him to win the match. End of match. Backstage, The New Day discuss the black overweight wrestler, Odyssey Jones. Kofi and Woods discuss Odyssey, and Woods says that he thinks Kofi brought Odyssey in the New Day without consultation and to replace Big E. Kofi replies by saying that it's not like that, and Kofi has only brought Odyssey because he reminds him of what the New Day was at the start of their career, where no one believed in them, and right now, nobody believes in Odyssey Jones. They get hyped, and Kofi and Odyssey leave, leaving Woods alone. They have a match later on against the Final Testicle. End of segment. Next up, we are shown that the latest person to join the new faction of WWE named American Made is Ivy Niles. Remember, she attacked Maxine Dupree last week. So the match between them is up next. They make their entrances and the match gets underway. During the match, when Ivy Niles has the upper hand, the lights go out. The ring starts to fill up with smoke and the Wyatt Six are here. Nikki Cross gets into the ring. American Made also get into the ring. Then the rest of the Wyatt Six show up and they stand on the apron. They have a brawl and all members of the American Made are out of the ring, except Chad Gable. He is surrounded by the Wyatt Six, and then Uncle Howdy shows up. Howdy hits Chad Gable with Sister Abigail. This match/segment ends with this beautiful shot right here. Moving on. Next up, Rhea and Priest are discussing the new Judgment Day. Priest says that at Bash in Berlin, Dominic and Liv Morgan are going to receive their punishment. Rhea addresses Liv Morgan and says that all you've done so far by doing what you did, is become a discount version of Rhea Ripley. So you became the very thing you hate. They both emphasize the point that they're going to demolish Liv Morgan and Dominic at Bash in Berlin. End of video package. Next up, Punk shows up, and after a whole lot of saying absolutely nothing, he says that he has some news. And he says that the news is that he has talked to Adam Pearce and he has agreed to a strap match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre at Bash in Berlin. Punk says that he has specifically asked for this match so he can whip the bitch known as Drew McIntyre. Punk also vows to take his bracelet back. Music hits and Drew McIntyre is here. Drew says that you challenge me to a strap match? Are you crazy? Of course I accept, because I am going to murder you at Bash in Berlin. Drew says that that match is far away in the future, but he needs to get his hands on Punk right now for what he did last week, aka whipping Drew McIntyre with a belt. He says to Punk that why don't you get rid of the strap so I can get into the ring and we can fight. Punk says let's make a deal, I get rid of the strap and you give me back my bracelet. Drew refuses and says that AJ Lee and your dog Larry are much safer with me at my home, so no thank you. Punk says well then you better watch out at Bash in Berlin because I'm coming for you with everything I've got. End of segment. Next up, Liv and Dominic show up on screen, and Liv says that they're going to win the mixed tag match at Bash in Berlin because they are the most dominating couple in the WWE history. Dominic then challenges Priest for a one-on-one match for tonight and he promises to leave the Judgment Day backstage. It will just be a singles match and Dominic just wants to prove to Priest and everyone that he's not the same Dominic anymore. He's a man now with Liv by his side. End of segment. Next up, it is the New Day versus the Final Testicle. In the end, Odyssey Jones hits his finisher on one of the members of the AOP and he pins him to win the match. Woods still feels conflicted about Odyssey Jones. That's it. Moving on. Backstage, Rhea and Priest are talking and Rhea says that there's no way that this match is not a trap and she does not trust a word out of Dominic's mouth. Priest says that he knows that it is a trap but he will take the chance just to get his hands on the Judgment Day. Priest says to Rhea that he will go wherever he has to go to take care of the Judgment Day as long as Rhea is by his side. They're both on the same page, and this segment ends right here. Next up, it is Fat Bronson Reed versus The Miz. In the end, Fat Bronson Reed hits Tsunami on The Miz to pin him. He wins the match and does what he's been doing for the past 2 weeks. He goes up top for even more Tsunamis. But before he could hit even one more, the music hits and Braun Strowman is here. He gets into the ring and stares into the eyes of Fat Bronson Reed. Fat Bronson Reed is scared poopless and he refuses to get into the ring with someone who's bigger than him. This match/segment ends right here. Backstage, Braun Breaker is talking to Kathy Kelly and he informs the world that Adam Pearce has decided to set up a tournament to establish a #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship and the tournament will start next week. Braun says that whoever wins the tournament is going to get the beating of a lifetime and he is going to get speared through the ground. End of segment. Next up, Dominic makes his entrance for his match against Priest. Priest makes his entrance but he is jumped by the Judgment Day. Priest takes care of the Judgment Day though and then he shifts his focus towards Dominic. Rhea Ripley also shows up. She blows a kiss to Dom and then she headbutts him. Then Priest says to Rhea to put Dom through the table. She clears the table and is going for the riptide on Dominic but Liv Morgan shows up and hits Rhea with a chair on her back. Priest tries to help Rhea but he is jumped by all members of the Judgment Day. They beat Damian up and they hold him so that he can watch Rhea get beaten. Liv drives Rhea shoulder first into the ring pole and the steel steps again and again. Priest is hit with the coup de grace and then, a frog splash by Dominic Mysterio. Then they drag both of them into the ring and the Judgment Day stands tall over the fallen Priest and Rhea Ripley. End of match/segment. And finally, in the main event of the Raw, Randy Orton beats Ludwig Kaiser. After the match, Gunther and Randy get into a brawl. The show ends while the brawl continues. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Comment down what you thought of the show and also tell me your favorite part. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for all things WWE. See you in the next video. Toodles.